مساء الخير لجميع المشاهدين، أتمنى أنكم تكونوا معنا مركزين وحاضرين وسامعين وعندكم أسئلة وحابين تطرحوها على ضيفنا. ضيفنا اليوم ضيف مميز كان معي مرة سابقة في حلقة سابقة. I will be talking with my audience in Arabic, and I will start talking with you, okay? In just few seconds. I'm introducing you to my audience. Maybe they are just remember you from the first episode. Okay. كان معي الأستاذ جاكوب كوهن، مفكر وباحث يهودي مغربي فرنسي. ولد في عام 1944 في أحد أحياء المغرب. تربى وعاش وكبر في أحد أحياء المغرب وكمل دراسته في فرنسا. معروف، عنده كتب مشهور جدا. يمكن شهرته اجت من مواقفه الإنسانية مع القضية الفلسطينية ضد دولة إسرائيل أو ضد النظام أو السياسة الإسرائيلية. Okay, I'm welcoming you again to my channel, Mr. Cohen. I would just need to hear you, so good evening.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Masal Noor. Okay. We talked earlier, maybe 9 months or 10 months ago. You told me that you were born in a religious home.
Yes.
Do you remember? Just a few seconds before just making the live, I thought I was seeing a kippah, and you just laughed. I told you are wearing a kippah. You said no, it's not a kippah. It's my headphone. So you used to wear a kippah when you were a kid
until the age of 18, 19.
Oh, 18, 19. Okay. And let's just make a refresher about, because not everyone just know you. Can you just tell us about yourself, your childhood in Morocco, and then we will just proceed with our issues. Okay?
Okay. Well, in Morocco, we used to live in a Jewish quarter, like a ghetto, you know. But in Morocco, it's called the Mellah. Mellah, and in Meknes, it was a big Mellah. Mm-hmm. We were almost 18,000 or 20,000. And we had our own schools. And at the age of 16, 17, I was invited to join a Zionist youth movement in Meknes.
Yes, you told me that that in the early 50s, the Zionists came to your country, to the Moroccan, and just tried to convince you to go to Israel.
Yes. There were a lot of Mossad agents and Jewish agencies to try to take Jews to Israel. And they succeeded because they took almost 200,000 to Israel, half of the Jewish community.
Half of the Jewish community.
Yes, and the other half was clever enough and conscious not to follow the poor guys who went there without knowing, and they went to France, Canada, and Spain and everything.
Okay, so there's no Jews left in Morocco today.
Almost nothing, you know.
Almost nothing.
99% left.
99%. Okay. So how did the Zionist movement just convince you to go to Israel? What did they do?
They used a lot of tricks, you know.
Okay.
For instance, I give you a trick. Happened to my father's sister, you know.
Okay.
And in 48, you know, we were not rich. I mean, a lot of people used to live in a room, a family in each room, you know, in a big houses, and with 5, 6, 7 children. So they went to see her. It's a true story, you know. So they went to see her, and you know, they took information and told her, look, if you can give us a kid, a boy.
Okay.
We take care of him, and he will study. You know, so she said, "Why not? You know, we are so numerous, and they took a 13-year-old boy,
Mm-hmm.
and then for months they didn't give any news, and the
Okay.
mother was very, very upset, and she said, "Well, I have to go to. I take all my family and we go there."
Okay.
So you know, very or you know, these youth movements, they took like teenagers, you know, like 16, 17, 18, and we were not very very
You said you
intelligent
said
at
you
that
said
time.
earlier that you said earlier that they went to the poor people.
Yes, yes.
They just
They took only the
convinced
poor
them.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the poor people, you know, they had a harsh time, and you know, they told them, "We will give you a good life over there, a house and everything." And when they arrived, it was all,
It was a
you
disaster.
know, a disaster. You know,
I want to
the,
ask you again about the number. You said 2,000 or 200,000.
who went to Israel?
Yeah,
200,000
in the early 50s, after the occupation.
between 48 and 63,
63. Okay, so
because
between 48 and
after
63.
after 63, 64,
Okay.
the news came from Israel that
Hmm.
the situation was bad and everything, and people and the Jews in Morocco, all the poor left, and
Hmm.
we had people
So
with education, with money. So these people wanted to leave Morocco, but they went to
for a better
Canada,
place, not
France.
yeah, exactly. So it's like 200,000, but in between 48 till 63,
Yeah,
and till
around.
63, all the people in Morocco, so they already heard what's going on in Israel.
Yes,
So
yes,
no, please, I don't want to go there.
yes, yeah.
Okay. You said also, I remember that you said that the Jews in the Western country didn't want to go to Israel. It didn't attract
Even the
them.
poor, didn't want. You know, it was
Hmm.
very, very harsh for the Mossad and the Jewish agency to move them, because they were, you know, their life was not bad. You know, there was a community, and but they took, you know, by hundreds, by tens, by few. But in
Hmm.
61, the
Yeah.
Mossad, there was a very weak boat. You know,
Ah,
they used to take Jews out of Morocco in hidden, you know, clandestinely.
okay.
Okay, so
Hmm.
they put 43 Jews between Tangier and Spain in a very, very weak boat, you know, very old.
The egos boat.
Egos, yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay. And they
it was
sang.
at a very stormy night. You know,
Hmm.
everything was planned to make the boat sink, you know,
Yes, of
and the
course.
boat sank, and there
Hmm.
were 43 people died.
Hmm.
And then there was a huge international campaign to oblige Hassan II, the king of Morocco, to
Hmm.
open largely the doors to Jews to quit, to leave.
Hmm.
And they left by tens of thousands. I mean, we didn't even, uh, we didn't even need a passport,
You
you know?
said you didn't have even an ID, an
Hmm?
identity.
Yeah,
I remember you said you
these Jews didn't have any identity card, you know?
Mhm.
They just wanted to, they went to the Jewish agency. They said, "Okay, what's your name?" "My name is Cohen Ishaq." Okay, your
Okay.
wife, how many children? 7, the name, okay, this paper, you go to the port of Casablanca, and it was like that. I mean, it was, and the people were crazy during 2 years. I think maybe 100,000 left or something like that. I mean, it was like hell, you know.
They lied and said that the
Yes.
Jews community
And they
is a
created,
prisoner in Morocco.
they created a panic, you know. They
They
created
made a panic. You say that
Yeah.
they made a panic. They made some crazy claims that they were prisoners in Morocco.
Yes, yes.
And you said that even they bombed in Egypt.
Yes, in Egypt, they put a bomb in a cinema, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The Zionist.
you know, there was it was the scandal of Lavon, the Minister of Defense in 52 or 53.
In the 52.
Because they couldn't stand that it's this idea, they couldn't stand that Jews and Arabs were living somewhere in peace.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's this idea, you know, to put in the mind of the Jews and the world that
they are in danger,
living,
so that
that they can say in Israel, you see, it's impossible. You know, Jews and Arabs cannot live in peace together.
Cannot. That's what they wanted the world to begin. Okay, that's their claim. But you also said about the Yemenis Jews.
Yes.
Do you remember what you said?
Yes.
They thought the Mashiach is coming with the big birds.
You know, the Yemenis were living like, you know, like people in the,
very,
I mean, 2,000 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have electricity, nothing, you know. And they sent planes, and the Jews thought that, oh, the God sent us, you know, like in the text, you know, to take us to
to the paradise, maybe. Yeah. Okay. And you told me about the eagles, and do you remember any story about from your friend or even someone that you know that lived in Israel in the 48 and just told you what happened there with the Palestinians? Do you remember any kind of story about the Palestinians?
If someone of my family told me about
maybe some of your family, of your friends, someone you know just told you about the life in 48, maybe later, what they did
maybe later. Yes.
Yeah.
I had a testimony, you know.
Okay.
The last time I was in Israel, I was in Lod because my sister lives in Lod.
You have a sister living here. Okay.
In Lod, yes.
In Lod, okay.
Yeah, and we are not Orthodox, but we are religious, you know. And when I go there, I like to go to the synagogue because, you know, like, to me it's like a study, you know, sociological, you know.
Yeah.
And it was in 2004, and I met this guy, an old Jewish guy from Tunisia, and he told me, you know, I knew De Gaulle. I was fighting with De Gaulle in 44, 45, and I have the Medal of Liberation Companion, you know. And, you know, I was a little bit skeptical. So he told me, look, tomorrow, if you can, I'll bring you documents. And indeed, he was very, this guy was, you know, he fought with the army of De Gaulle and everything. And he was originally from Tunisia, and he came in 48. He went to Israel in 48, and he was in the how do you say, in town hall of Lod, of Lydia, you know, Lod, like not the mayor, but the community, the community of the town. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
You understand? No.
Yes,
No.
I understand it.
You know, who runs the town? Okay, there is the mayor and okay. No, you well.
Maybe
So
the mayor. You mean
no,
someone that
a mayor
is
and mayor has he doesn't work alone. You know.
Yes, of course. He's a guard. He has a guard. He has a
No,
guard, someone to
no,
protect him.
they are elected. Where do you live? In Haifa?
I live in Haifa.
Okay, in Haifa you have a mayor.
Yes, of course.
Okay, and with people, and you elect this team. How do you call
Yes,
this
of course.
team?
The members of the
Okay, so he was
okay.
he was one of the team of Lot, and he in the time of Ben Gurion, you know.
Yeah.
In 55. And I told him, what was the life like at that time?
Yes.
And he told me, you know, something like, you know, he told me this exactly. He said, it was the perfect time. Perfect time. I told him, why?
Jews and Arabs.
No.
They
No. What was like the atmosphere in 55 when you were you were in this period with Ben Gurion, you know, like
okay.
one of the leaders of Lot. No, not the leaders, but one of the responsible. So he told me it was the perfect time. I asked him why, and he told me the Arabs went to their home, went back to their home at sundown like rats.
Oh my God.
And you know, this guy was, you know, like a grandfather, a very nice guy, very sweet. I mean, it's just, I mean,
You
you
can't
couldn't think.
understand how can
Yeah,
it be a wonderful time.
and when I talk with my family, you know, they are really a lot of them are religious, nice people. But when it comes to Arabs,
They just
I mean, they change like it's terrible.
it's terrible. Okay. We have a question from
Yes.
our friend. She's
Okay.
asking
Why
you.
Jews left Morocco?
Yeah.
Okay. You have to know that Jews in Muslim countries have the status of dhimmi. Dhimmi. I don't know how to say in Arabic. Dhimmi. Dhimmi was a second rank citizen.
Okay.
So, and these lasted for centuries. So we used to integrate this idea that the Muslims could, you know, there was no justice, there was no state of law in Morocco. So we used to have this idea that we are the weak people. Oh,
But
you heard me? We were
no,
we were at the mercy of the Muslims. You know,
yes, of course.
we kept this idea that we were not in the same
You were
level.
not equal to the Muslims.
Yeah,
You were the
we
second
knew we
type,
integrated
like us, the second type of. I have a passport, the Israeli passport, but I'm not equal to the Jew. You know, it's like the
yes,
same.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
So when Morocco became independent in '56, okay, there were 300,000 or 350,000 Jews, or 400,000. We don't know exactly, but there was a nationalist party Istiklal
Mm-hmm.
was very traditionalist, and he viewed the Jews as competitors in matter of civil service, of
Okay.
business,
Mm-hmm.
of you know,
Mm-hmm.
and he pushed the Jews to leave.
To leave. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
not to Israel,
Not
but
to Israel.
not to
Somewhere
Israel.
else.
No, but
Just leave us alone.
for them,
But
for
I
this party,
remember that you
yes,
said to me last time that even the poor people didn't want to go to Israel because they
yes,
didn't want to get out from their community, even though they are very poor.
yes.
You said that in Morocco, but they
Look,
because in
I
just a
wrote,
tricks in a trick way.
to give you an idea
Okay.
of the difference of the situation.
Okay.
Uh, in 1960, 1961, there were some, like some uh, some Jewish girls. They were 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay,
I
they
remember you said they were
they
kidnapped.
were kidnapped
Yeah,
and
just like
converted
they
to
do
Islam.
you
Okay,
know, in Egypt,
okay,
they do the same with the Christian.
okay. So for the
With
Jews, for the
Mhm,
Moroccans, I mean, if they
mhm,
were living in France or in Canada, I mean, they would have gone to the Justice Department, and
mhm.
but in Morocco they knew that it was impossible. I mean, to show you the mentality of, we were under, we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
expect a lot of the administration of the government,
of the
actually.
government. I see.
And
Okay.
after the 60s, a lot of people, like for instance, I met a guy who had a very good situation in Morocco, but he went to Montreal in Canada, where I lived for a few years, and he
Mhm,
told me, "Look, I mean, I had nothing to. I had a very good life, but
mhm,
for the sake of my two children, boys, I
mhm,
want to guarantee them a good a future."
mhm,
So, to give you this idea, uh, uh, the- after in the 70s, all the Jewish bachelors, I mean, who had the degree, who finished the high school,
mhm,
okay, they went to France or Canada. 100% went, and nobody returned. I mean, it was like a precaution, They say we never know with Arabs, we never know how it would develop. So today we can go. So better go now, and So and this mentality developed. So all these, for instance, I have look. I have a story. There was a guy called Toledano in Meknes,
mhm,
and he had a grant. He studied in France,
mhm,
and when he came back in 62, 63, he had a very, very good job in the ministry, finance
mhm.
or something like that.
Okay.
But this party, Listiklal, looked at him like it was impossible to accept that. So
Mhm,
they did a trick to him, and I don't want to get into details. We don't have time.
okay.
And this guy was obliged to quit
To
his
quit his job.
position,
Okay.
and even Morocco. And he worked in the Rothschild Bank, and he finished. But okay, the problem was that in 63, I remember,
Mhm,
all the young people in Meknes, when we heard about the story of Toledano, we had only this idea, fixed idea, to
mhm,
leave Morocco at any price. So all these, these things made the Jews, I mean, to go to Morocco. My father went to Israel in 68. You know what he told me in 69 when I went to meet him in Shur Shalom, near Haifa. He told me in Arabic, he told me, تعرف Jacob, هذا مسيح يهود هذا. To him, the Zionists are not Jews. I mean, to him is, and why he left Morocco? Because he hated the Zionists. He hated the Zionists because they were atheists. And
you told me that. You told me that the Zionists, they are a new kind of Jews.
This political party, Istiklal, sent a militant in front of the shop of my father and told the Moroccans, the Muslims, don't buy to this Jew. So there were a lot of stories. That's why the Jews in Morocco left.
That's too bad. I don't like anyone to live in this situation. It's collective damage to the people. Okay, we have another question. Did Arab Jews who were transferred or deported to with the trick constitute large percentage of the Jews' immigration to Palestine? Okay. Did you get the question?
Not exactly the first part. I didn't get it.
Okay, I will put it again.
Okay. Did you Arab Jews who were transferred? Yeah, all the Jews who went to Israel from Morocco. I talk about Morocco, and Yemen is also the same thing. But all the Jews who went from Morocco to Israel between 48 and 63, they used tricks with them, I mean, they were persecuted. There was racism. Look, for instance, there was a trick, when okay, my aunt, the sister of my mother, okay, this another one, huh? They went in 56 or 57. Look at the trick they used to put them into the developing towns,
Oh, okay.
The developing towns,
yes.
like Yerucham, Yokneam.
Yes, of course.
So this aunt, they asked her, where do you want to live? So she said, Haifa. Why? Why do you want to go to Haifa? She said, I have my brother and I have a sister over there, and I want to. Oh, it's not a problem. So they pulled out, a geographic map, a map, okay, a map, and they told her, look, here is Haifa, here is Yokneam, 5 minutes by walk. You can go to see your family every afternoon to have tea with them by foot. Look, you sign, they sign. Once you sign, and this trick, they used it thousands of times. Like a lot, these Moroccans, they told me in the 70s, they were ashamed to play Arabic music in the marriage. They told them, you are savages. You are, well, that's well, I don't know if maybe, but they were really really oppressed, with this, because you know how they called the Jews from Morocco in Israel in the 50s, Morocco Sakin. And there were riots.
I remember that my father said that they were living in a horrible way, in a horrible situation. They were in just a few families in one room.
Yes, there
Just
were
and
riots
between 20 people in one room.
in
And
there
they
were
kidnapped
yeah.
also, they kidnapped their children.
Yes,
You know
yes,
that.
yes,
They kidnapped their children. I
yes,
don't know where they did, what they did do with their children.
especially the Yemenite.
Yes, exactly, the Yemenis. They
Mm.
just kidnapped their children.
So I have a question. How old was he when he left Morocco?
Yes.
Okay, well, I left Morocco twice. In '67, I had my degree in law, and I went to France.
Hmm.
And the idea, I mean, to me, it was natural. That's, I mean, I lived like that in '67, not because of the war, something, but I have the degree, and I said, my future is not in Morocco. I go to France. So I went to France and then to Canada and Germany. And in
Hmm.
'78, I returned to Morocco. I, I worked as an assistant professor at the university during
Hmm.
10 years. And when I left definitely Morocco, I understood that there was no place for a Jew.
Mm.
I wrote, there was the dean of the university. He came from this political party,
Mm.
Benani, Listiklal, and he did all he could to to prevent me to uh,
To left.
to have my PhD.
Ah, okay.
And because you know I repeat uh, to to a Moroccan, not all the Moroccans, but you know some at least of this party,
Hmm.
these people came from Fez, we called them the Fasci. So to them it was impossible to admit that a Jew can have uh, a place in a public office or something. So
It's just the same as I feel here.
as yes,
As
yes,
I feel here.
as
I can't be. It's just you're
yes,
talking about Jews in Morocco, and I'm feeling that you are just talking about Palestinians in Israel.
exactly,
Just
exactly.
the same.
Yes, yes. You know that there are, you can't have some. But so I left definitely in '78. No, in '87. I mean,
87.
I lived with the idea that, and the problem that all the Moroccans, when I do a conference in Morocco, I mean, the Moroccans don't know why Jews have left.
Hmm.
Something funny. A
Can I
year
ask you?
ago,
Can I ask you something? The
yes,
Moroccan people, did they
yes,
killed Jews? Did they just
it happened,
destroy their? Did they just
but very
massacre? I
few.
don't.
No, no,
No.
at the old time. I
Yeah.
mean, 200 or 300 years ago, but not like
No,
in
no, no.
Europe,
I mean in 48, before
Hmm?
48, before 38, before the
Yes.
occupation. Did they just kill them? Just made their life that like hell? So,
No, 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 no,
that's the
no, no,
no.
no.
Okay.
No, sometime one Jew would be killed, but once in I don't know how many years, but not
Okay.
no, no, no.
But
So
they are. You say they are the master of propaganda. The
yeah,
master.
yes.
You said.
I mean, uh, the Nazis, uh, it's nothing. Yeah, they are the masters. Well, just to give you an example, 1 year
Mhm.
ago, or a little bit more, there was a prime minister, from Islamic party called Ben Kiran,
Mhm.
So he knew I was in Morocco and he invited me with some friends, militants, for a dinner, So he was prime minister. I mean, it's something. He was prime minister. And during the dinner, he asked me, tell me, Mr. Cohen, why the Jews left Morocco? He didn't know why.
He didn't know why. Okay.
No, the Moroccans don't know why. And he told me, I asked the president of the Jewish community, and he answered him, I don't know, Mr. Mikira. I know that he know. I mean, all the Jews know why they left, but they wouldn't tell why. Because in the Arab mentality, in French, we say le non-dit. I mean, something that you don't say.
Yeah.
You don't tell. So in Morocco, you have to say that
With
the
all
Jews we all lived together. It was nice. It was wonderful. So I asked them, okay, so why more than 99% left?
exactly. So
But they can't.
it's
I
hard.
mean, to them, it's hard. I mean, it's unthinkable to get into this.
Exactly. We have another question
Yes,
saying, so the kidnapping is real about
of the girls,
the
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 girls.
the Yemenis children.
Hmm?
The Yemenis children. What did they
Yes,
do
yes.
with these children?
No, for instance, a woman went to the hospital,
Yeah.
and they would told her, "Oh, your child is dead,"
Dead.
and they wouldn't show her, but the child would be given to an Ashkenaz family, to a good family.
To a good family. You said also, I remember that the Zionists killed the Jews were living here because they were not they were living peacefully with the Palestinians and they
Yes,
didn't want this occupation. You said
yes.
if they didn't accept the occupation, they will be killed. The Jews, you said.
They killed a great personality in 1924 called Jacob de Haan. He was a Jew. He came from Holland, and you look to when you look to his photograph, he had a Palestinian cloth, this
Ah.
Jacob de Haan.
Yeah.
He was one of the leader of the Jewish community in Al-Quds,
That's
And
okay.
in 1924, he was heading to London with a delegation,
Okay.
and he wanted to tell the British, look, we are living very well. There is no problem. We don't want a Jewish state. So before he went, he was murdered
Oh my God.
by Jews,
By Jews.
assassinated, murdered. And in 1961, one of the agents who killed him said in the television in Israel, I am proud to have killed this man. And they used to, in the 20s and 30s, the Zionists, they used to behave like mafia, for instance. They went
Do
to,
the state of
in
Israel,
Israel. Huh?
do the state of Israel or the
No,
Zionist
before the state, before the state.
Okay.
They
No,
used to,
I'm asking another question. Do you think that Zionist movement or the state of Israel really want peace? Do you think they are really wanting peace with the Palestinians?
no. Oh, no, 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 no. No, it's impossible.
Not
No,
impossible.
no, it's impossible. I mean,
Impossible.
I'm always surprised that Arabs or Palestinians
Believe
who
that.
believe that because after 70 years of Zionism or 100 years, how could you think that the Zionists, I mean, they hate the Arabs. You can't. I mean, you just can't imagine how they hate them, how they despise them, and it's like they look at them like. Well, I don't want you know the Rav
Like
Ovadia.
animals.
You know the Rav Ovadia Yosef.
Yes, of course I know.
Well, he used to make shiurim, on television.
Druze. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And he used to, I don't, like to him, he said publicly that Arabs were like snakes, and I don't know the name
And
in
even
English.
he
But
said also you can kill them.
yes, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, there was a book, and they say you can kill. I mean, it's just unthinkable that the Zionists would want to live, because they want, how do you say that, an armed society. I mean, the deep state in Israel. Who controls the state of Israel? Not Netanyahu. The deep state is the security, is the Mossad, is the army, and they always want to live with how do you say that? They want to live with the arm on they want an armed society, armed, like in the old Greece, like the Spartiate, they want a militarized society, and they can't just imagine to depose. I mean, to pose their arms and say, look, this deep state, the first propaganda of this deep state is for the Jews. For instance, my family, all my family, they want peace, but they would tell me, but with whom? We can't make peace. Look at the Arabs. No, but this propaganda is directed first on the Jews. I mean, to the deep state in Israel. They are making their compatriots, the Jews, prisoners of their strategy of war, always, until the end. That's so I just can't. I just can't. I mean, the idea of believing in peace. You know what they did to the Egyptians?
What they did?
In 1980, they signed a peace treaty, yes? Okay. And they gave back the Sinai, okay?
Yeah.
And in Sinai, the saying is, like in French, we say le fait accompli. They don't wait, they build,
Exactly.
So they built in Sinai a town. At that time, 80 was 10,000 people. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the state, of the town, okay?
Of the town, okay.
Of the town, but you can find it, okay. Before leaving, you know what they did? They destroyed every building.
Everything. Yes.
Just not to leave them something, I mean, it's a new kind of hateness, of hate, of despise. I mean, it's I don't know. Even the Nazis, I don't know, but they do it very intelligently, very cynically, very carefully, and that's the way it is. Okay, can we?
Yes, we have another question.
Or this? Well, yeah.
maybe making revenge.
Okay, they tried when they took all the Jews from Arab countries they could. After that, they looked towards the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
and they developed this campaign, "Let my people go." So a lot of people,
The master
and,
of the
and,
propaganda.
and there was a trick. There was a trick. Let my people go. A lot of people, even if they were not Jews, they said,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's a good opportunity to leave the Soviet Union."
Leave, yeah.
And in the first time, they arrived in Vienna. Vienna was a neutral country between West and West during the Cold War. And a lot of people from the Soviet Union, Jews or not, they asked for political asylum to the United States from Vienna. And when Israel, they said, "Oh, we didn't do all that to see the Jews go elsewhere." They brought the Jews through Bucharest under the dictatorship of Ceausescu, and they give him a lot of millions of dollars, and the Jews were directly from Bucharest to Tel Aviv. No way to escape.
And you know how they lived here. You know how they lived here.
Okay.
The Soviets.
There is a difference between the Soviets, the Jews from Soviet Union were better treated than the Moroccans, than the Arab immigrants.
Yes.
Well, first of all, the Arab Jews came in the 50s.
Yes.
And the country was poor.
Yeah.
The Russians have had diplomas. The Moroccan Jews who went to Israel, they had no instruction, they had nothing. I mean, they had no profession, they had no money, they had nothing. I mean, all the poor, or the poorest people went to Israel. But the people from Soviet Union were educated, But even
they are not equal to the Ashkenaz.
They are not equal. They are the people.
The first class is the Ashkenaz, and then
even from Soviet Union.
Yeah.
They are first the top are from Moscow and Leningrad or something. Okay. And under there was the Gruzinim.
Gruzinim,
yeah. I remember my father had a makolet, and he had a very bad opinion.
Do you speak Arabic or Hebrew? Do you speak Arabic or Hebrew? Do you speak Arabic?
No, I speak a little bit Hebrew and I speak a little bit Arabic, but
not so good. Okay.
And he had a very bad opinion of the Gruzinim, because once he told me, the Gruzinim were a little bit of the, how can I say, the class below, people who drink, like.
Yes, I'm with you. Okay, I have another question. Do you think the state of Israel is a religious state?
No. Well, he was not. He was not. The proportion of religious in 48 was ridiculous, maybe 1 or 2%. And there was nothing religious in Israel at that time. Just that Shabbat was the day of, but there was nothing. I mean, there were holidays, but and a link to the Bible, to Old Testament, Okay, but the state was not religious. the religion developed a lot after 67, when people went to how do you say it? Well, West Bank, and they developed this kind of mentality of like the Mashiach and God gave us back Hebron and so on, and the religious also they multiply like rabbits. I don't know. I have you a religious.
They have a lot of children. Maybe 12.
My brother is religious. A great religious. He has, I don't know, 12 or 13 children. And he had already 20 or 25 grandchildren, and he is 10 years younger than I. I mean, they multiply like. I remember when I was in 2004 in Netanya, I was walking in the evening. I never saw so many people with a kippah, No, it has, look, for instance, you have even, there is the, how can you say that, when people go to Meron, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Meron, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Okay. They go to the cemetery and they I don't know how the name, the pilgrimage, pilgrimage to in May there is a big holiday. Well, not a big holiday. People used to go to celebrate dead great rabbis, old rabbis, very, very old. I don't know, 1,000 years ago, 2,000, in Sfat,
Yes.
And they go there for 2-3 days, and they make fires. Well, I don't know.
I'm talking about the state itself. It's by law, it's Jewish state.
Yes.
And all the symbols, it's like it's Jewish.
Yeah, because
I'm asking why are you? What about you? You're not living in Israel. Why is that?
Me?
You don't like the state?
Me?
It's a Jewish state. Yes.
Me?
You?
I?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, the first time I went there in 69.
Yeah.
And I went maybe 10 times or 12 times. I never liked this country. I went there because my family, all my family lives there, sisters, brothers, uncles, and everything. But I never liked the type of society. I never liked this ideology.
Can you tell us about what do you don't like about Israel?
Okay.
It's a democracy.
Just to tell you something. Zionism, the ideology, Zionism.
Yeah.
That is to say, to build a Jewish state. Okay, Zionism was never popular in the Jewish world. Was never popular. People looked at this like something strange, and all the Jewish communities in the world never wanted to go massively, nor the French, nor the American, nor the English. Some people went individually, but there was never a massive. The religious people, the Orthodox, the rabbis in the diaspora were 99% against Zionism until 1948. Did you hear about well, maybe the name will come back. Okay, until 1948, the whole Jewish the religious communities, rabbis. I remember in Meknes, the Zionists came to the Mellah and opened an office, and they put music on Shabbat and everything. And people, the rabbi told us, my father told, these people
They are not Jews.
They are not Jews. I mean, so the Zionism was never a popular ideology within the Jewish communities. So the Zionists used tricks to get Jews into Israel. The Arabs, the Soviets, from Africa, the Falasha, all tricks. So, but these big communities, I mean, you can't imagine the propaganda they make in France, all in the Jewish radios and everything, to go there. How many go? How many they go? 3,000 a year, 4,000, and they come back. A lot of them come back. Come back to France because I mean it's a weird country. I mean it's but they are nationalistic. They develop a high.
People say that
level,
the best state in the world is democracy. It's the best state in the Middle East.
That's the propaganda. I mean, in Israel, you can't tell what you feel. I mean, for the Jewish, for instance, you are a mother, you lose your child in the army. You have to go to the media and say he was a hero. He gave. I'm proud of him, and it's always this kind of stories. The Gibborim, I mean, it's
not real.
People live in a very. I mean, it's a very intelligent propaganda, but their mind are washed out. I don't know if the word is correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have another question. It's a bit. Do Israeli people still feel they belong to them?
Okay.
And
nowadays, more and more.
Please read the rest of the question, and let's compare with the Palestinian refugees who live as an example in Jordan.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, this idea of, I mean, this link with the old, with the Bible, with the old story. I don't the archaeological science in Israel, archaeology is an arm is used by the authorities to strengthen. I mean, it's an ideology. It's not neutral, the archaeology in Israel. It is developed to give the people a link with the ancestors. Do you know Shlomo Sant? Shlomo Sant.
Yes, of course. He's my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
how Jewish people was invented.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, now the idea is to give a link with archaeology and all this. They found a lot of things, and they try to strengthen the link with the history, the old history.
Exactly.
They call, for instance, they call West Bank Yehuda Veshomron. They say they don't.
They want it now. They wanted to get the West Bank.
Yes,
I'm sure you heard about this.
They call it Shechem and everything, and the Shabbat Agadol in Hebron, they go like 20,000, 30,000. I mean, it's and this the third temple is already in a way of construction. They have already built a lot of things which go inside the temple. So it is something new. I mean, 30, 40 years ago, to talk about this thing would have been weird, you know. But now it's, I mean, even if it's becoming, I mean, it has entered into the tradition of Israel, you know. For instance, 2 years ago, I remember a chief of a party gave an interview on Shabbat in Tel Aviv, and he was very criticized, you know. I mean, something you can't just unbelievable. But how intelligent they are, how cynical they are. You know that in the Bible, the homosexuality is condemned by death, you know, in the Bible.
Yeah.
But because homosexuality, Israel is the most gay-friendly state. Why? Because they want, it's political, it's strategical. They want to make Tel Aviv the capital of gay-friendly world. So it's propaganda. I mean, hundreds of thousands of gay people go to Tel Aviv because it's, and if a rabbi, I remember a great rabbi, in head of yeshiva, you know, he said he was against homosexuality, you know. He said homosexuality is, they told him, you know, look,
even maybe the Minister of Health said the same thing. The minister, maybe the Minister of Health said the same thing, that he's against homosexuality.
Excuse me, what do you say?
Never mind. That's okay. Thank you.
I have another question. Do you believe that the Jews have any right in Palestine? Well, there is no right.
It's a very difficult question.
There is strength. You are strong, you have the right. You look, Palestinians have rights, a lot of rights, but who cares? In this world, in this world, right is nothing. And if the Jews, if the Zionists were not strong enough, you know, in between 45 and 47, they made a hell. They made a hell to life of the British. You know, I mean, the British didn't want to split the land, but they were almost all obliged because there was terrorism against the British, and the British people say, okay, we give up. So there is no right. I mean,
they don't have any right.
International community, you have to be strong.
They have the power.
I mean, the Palestinian, when they go, I mean, when I talk about the Palestinian, I talk about the Palestinian Authority. I mean, when they go crying, they are stupid. They are weak. They are stupid. They won't get anything. Okay? And Europe tells them, yeah, two-state solution. They will get nothing.
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 The deal of the century. Trump,
I say it for the last.
What do you think about the deal of the century? The Trump suggestion.
Well, I mean, it's the deal of the century is the expression of the reality. It's exactly the reality. I mean, what could you expect of? I mean, who held the West Bank? These are
Israel.
with the collaboration of Palestinian Authority. So if there is an agreement, it will express the situation of the concrete situation. What do you mean of one-state solution? Okay.
Is it possible?
It's the only solution. You know, I used to say something. The Zionists established a rule. Okay, this rule, what is it? There would be one nationalism on this land, on Palestine. One nationalism, not two. Nowadays, it's Zionism. The Palestinian must be crushed, all the way crushed, ignored. The Palestinians had a fantastic opportunity to crush Israel.
Crush Israel?
Yes.
How was that?
Okay. You know, the Oslo Agreement was a poker game, poker move of Yitzhak Rabin. Fantastic. I mean, it's one of the best move in political how do you say, propaganda, because Israel was in a very bad situation with the Intifada. Very, very bad. You know, Israel is very sensitive to the image it has in the world. You know, it's important to him. But Israel was how do you say, was dealing like a cruel occupation army against children and so on. And you know, Yitzhak Rabin didn't want peace. It's a bullshit that it was the man of peace. If he wanted peace, he would have discussed with Marwan Barghouti, who was one of the leader of the Intifada, and find a solution. But Yitzhak Rabin knew that it was impossible to deal with Barghouti. Why? Because Barghouti would say, look, we want peace, but this condition. Arafat was in a hole. I mean, in French we say un trou. I mean, he disappeared totally from the actuality. He was nothing in 92. He was nothing. He lived in Tunisia, and he receives a call from Rabin. And you know what Rabin said? We are going to take Arafat, we are going to take him out of the hole where he is, and he will do all what we want. And that's exactly what happened. He gave 60% of the West Bank to Israel, which is zone A zone, you know?
Yes, of course. The A zone, the B zone,
or C zone. I don't. Maybe I mix. Okay. He got nothing on Al-Quds, on the refugees, on the colony, on the settlements. He got nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem, if he had resigned after 2 years or 3 years, he would have left and say, look, take back all the West Bank and make Israelis become occupant again in front, because there is a fiction today. For the last 20 years, 25 years, there is a fiction. The fiction is that there could be a Palestinian state. They have a president, they have a parliament. So they entertain, this fiction. And this fiction allows Israel, just to give you an idea, China and India didn't have diplomatic relations with Israel until 1993. After the Oslo Agreement, they say, oh, Israel is making peace. So if the Palestinians say, we don't have any authority, take all, and become the masters. We want only one man, one voice. they could have gained really a good power, but they are people. I mean, this Palestinian Authority, they are maybe 5,000 or 10,000 people who earn $10,000 a month or 15,000 or something.
We have a friend, he wants to ask you a question.
Sure.
Okay. Saying good evening, Mr. Rayad.
Well, good evening, Marihan. And good evening, Mr. Cohen.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother you too much. I just have one question for you, and I would like to hear, really would like to hear your answer. Well, I'm a tourist guide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who works only within the Palestinian territory simply because I don't have a permission to get inside Israel and work inside Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway. I do sometimes pilgrims tours, and also I do political tours. One question that always been raised. Lots of people, they used to raise one question, even the international community, even the Arabs, even lots of people, they used to raise one question, which is why don't the Arabs or the Palestinians accept the partition plan in 1947? And so lots of the international community, I don't know, but lots of people would blame the Palestinians for not accepting the partition plan. So my answer was, for those who used to raise this question, always I used to simply to respond to them that it would not matter. It would not matter even if the Palestinians or the Arabs accepted the partition plan. What we have today on the ground would be the same thing. So my answer was like, look, back at that time, see, the Zionists or the Zionists, they have plan A and plan B and plan C. So plan A, let's say, was if the Palestinians and the Arabs accepted the partition plan, what should we do? Plan B, what if they denied, or what if they are not, if they're not accepting the resolution? What should we do? So plan B. And also probably they have another plan, which is A, B, C, D, I don't know. So because they have something in mind, they wanted to achieve something on the land, so that really doesn't matter if we accepted it or not. So I hope you got my answer, and I really would like to hear your opinion, and just let me know how right my answer was. It right? Was it wrong? Just I would like to hear your comments on it.
Okay, I agree totally with you. To the Zionists, anyway, it was in the mind of Ben Gurion, it was the first step. So even the split of the land didn't, they were not happy with, but strategically, diplomatically, Ben Gurion knew that the Arabs would say no. And he said yes, because he want to appear as a man that he was for peace. But during this war in 48-49, there were like we say 2 or 3 ceasefires or truce,
Yeah.
But during this time, the Zionists pushed their forces. For instance, Ashkelon was not in the plan, was not in the Jewish plan. Ashkelon would have was with the Arab district or region. Okay, so they pushed all they could during this year and a half, from ceasefire to ceasefire. And don't forget that in 49, the Zionists killed the Bernadotte, who was the special envoy of the United Nations in the region, because he wanted he was neutral or objective, and he didn't fit in their plans to get at the maximum possible, and the Zionists killed the United Nations envoy von Bernadotte. So they used all the tricks. I mean, for them, there was no coexistence possible. Not living together possible. That's why they proceeded to the ethnic cleansing. They pushed out 90 or 95% of the Palestinians out of the country. So their plan was to take as much as possible during these 2 years, and wherever Arabs have said, okay, because there were ceasefire. I mean, they could have ceased the fire and have tried to make an arrangement, but for the Israelis or for the Zionists, it was impossible.
Okay, thank you, and okay, just one
Yes.
One small question.
Yes.
Further question, Well, how much do you believe really on the dream states? The Jewish when they gonna stop?
They would never stop.
So 1947, we agreed that would not really matter if they accepted the partition plan or not. So the same would happen today. What's on the ground today would happen with the same. So, but now what we have on the ground, how far do you think, or the Israelis will keep having, for how long they're gonna keep the dream of having the promised land? And we know what's the promised land. You know the promised land. I know what's the promised land.
Yeah.
And that's why Israel has till today. That's why today it has no borders. That's why till today Israel has no border in the United Nations. They have that's still blank. That side is still blank. So they never filled it.
Okay, the Zionists, they can't. How do you say? They can't renounce to the Jordan River. There is the part in Jordan, yes, and they want this part. I mean, they wouldn't sleep quietly until they get a part of Jordan. Before.
This is the sentence. This is Jordanian.
Yeah, before you know that in Jordan there is a road. I don't know if it's true again still. But I give you two stories about Jordan. There is a road on the side along the Jordan, on the Jordanian side, okay? And the Jordanian people are not allowed to use this road. When they began to use this road, they were, they were attacked by Israelis. Once, twice. And this road is empty. This road waits for the legal, historical Israelis to come and take it. Second, there is a great writer, French writer, who wrote Arab Carnet Arab. I don't know if, I think Matzneff or something. And he was very close to the Arab cause in 72, 73. And he wrote that in Jordan, he saw a lot of land near the border, which was not cultivated. And he asked, why you don't? And they say, as soon as we try to develop the land, we are attacked. So, I mean, the Israelis have put in the minds of the Jordanians, look, this part of this land, we'll take it one day or another. So don't try to don't think you are the masters. I told before that the nature of the Zionist ideology, the nature, the profound, the deep nature is racism, domination, hate of the Arabs, and so on. So they won't stop. And sometimes,
so the dream will be continued.
Yes, and so sometimes there are Israelis who are clever enough to say, look, I mean, we are crazy. We have to stop. You know what? There is someone who was the chief of staff, not the number one, the number two, and he went with Meretz or something like that. I don't remember his name. You know what he said? I mean, the number two of Tzahal, 3 years ago, he said, what's going on in Israel right now remembers me the 30s in Germany. Can you imagine?
Huh? The Dr. Afer Kassif. He said that. He
said that what happens in Israel right now remembers him what the situation in Germany in the 30s, in the early 30s. Okay? But the problem with the Zionists, they can't stop. It's a kind of crazy train who rules at 300 kilometers an hour without brakes, and it has to go until the end. It's impossible. It's impossible to stop or to slow. I mean, even if you tell, I mean, how many people who are former responsibles of Tzahal, of Shin Bet, of Mossad, they tell, look, it's very, we have to be careful, we have to think. To me, it's something, I mean, it's like a crazy train who goes without brakes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Iyad.
خليك إياد خليك. Hello, Mr. Cohen. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you. I am Jordanian. My mother is Palestinian.
Okay.
So I loved the Palestinian by my mother, through my mother. You talked about a road. My friend Jawad is a Palestinian. He's asked you about which road. It's not allowed to the Jordanian to use it. If the Jordanian use this road in Jordan land,
yes,
they get attacked by Israeli soldier.
Yes.
Do you know exactly which this road, what's the name, or where?
As far as I know, I wrote that a few years ago, or many years ago. It's a road, or maybe it's not a real road, but it's a road which goes along the river.
In Jordanian Valley. In Jordanian Valley.
Yes.
Should be in the valley.
It's highway.
It's highway or road. It's along the river, you know, the Jordan River.
Yeah, and then in the north of Jordan. It's and then the valley, and then the north. I will ask you about, I think my friend Marihan asked you about the nature of Israeli state law. It is a liberal or a religious?
Well, it has becoming more and more religious.
It
was a liberal, but but look, for instance, people who know the Israeli society, how the Supreme Court in Israel is attacked by the right wing people. I mean, the Supreme Court was one of the last institution who kept liberal or democratic principles, and it's more and more attacked, and there would be one day or another a law to restrict the power of the Supreme Court.
It's already there.
Yeah, so
already there.
I mean, something we could imagine 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Now, and the religions are more and more strong. You know, for instance, in Ashdod, for instance, they told me I was told in Ashdod there was no religious one in Ashdod. I mean, when I say religious, I mean Orthodox. Now they are 30%. Because it's a cheap town and they are numerous, and they make 12 children, 14, and it has become a problem for the town because they are 30%, so they can impose their ideas, you know, to close shops on Shabbat and so on. So, but I mean, the trend of the society is to get more and more religious. But it's I mean, we can't, and there are a lot of Israelis who leave the country. I mean, a lot of people of Tel Aviv, you know, like
more and more, just leaving the country.
People who are, you know, engineers, architects. I mean, who want to live in a free society. They go to Berlin. Berlin has become a great town of Israelis. So you have more and more religious, and the people who are West oriented and so on, they go out. They are leaving. And you know that Germany and Poland, they offered their passport to people who had grandparents or real grandparents in Germany and in Poland. And tens of thousands of Israelis took this opportunity to get this passport. Because they leave the country.
They leave the
country. Yeah.
You talked about this road, and I know which is this road, and I will add something as a Jordanian. There's a mountains. There's in the cliff in the Jordanian Valley. It's not allowed to Jordanian military to stand there or use this mountains. If is there any form of Jordanian military there, they will get attacked by Israeli military. Do you believe that one day that Jordan, it will add Jordan as an Israeli state, as Israeli lands? Like Western,
I don't think so. You know, when you hear the Israelis, they say, "Oh, if we were 15 million, wow! I mean, they could have I mean, you know, like double, triple,
control the world."
I mean, yeah, there is a problem of population, but if they get the part of Jordan. You know, it's impossible to get all Jordan, but the part of the river, I mean, it would be possible. It would be practical for them. But nowadays, it's, you know, they can wait. They know, you know, they are clever. They know how to. You know, for instance, they said July 1st we are going to annex these territories in West Bank, and now they say, okay, we can wait 3 months, 4 months. But,
so it's idea. I like ideas that exist.
But this idea, you know, in 1918, before the British mandate, okay, when they began to put kibbutzim, you know, kibbutzim were not put by chance; they were put strategically in regions to control, okay? There were kibbutzim already in the Jordanian state, in the Jordanian part of beyond the Jordan River. So they had this idea that one day because of the kibbutzim, we can get a hold over them.
خططوا قبل ب50 سنة. They're just
But-
planning way ahead.
But the British man that fixed the border in the Jordan line.
Mm.
So they took this kibbutzim out of his part because it was not. But their ideas. I mean, okay, in Lebanon they tried in Lebanon, they didn't succeed, thanks to Hezbollah.
Yes.
Hezbollah is the only organization.
They'll accuse you as a Muslim now. They will accuse you.
They will accuse you that you are a Muslim if you
Yeah,
say
they
that.
will accuse you as a Muslim, as a jihadi.
Why not?
Yeah.
No, they tried Lebanon. They got the Golan.
Yes.
So they will always try to expand.
Mhm.
Even Egypt is not
Exactly.
finished. We never know. I mean, okay,
Never
now,
know.
right now,
But
so-
it's possible. It's possible.
but it's possible. They have plans to get, but not to take. I mean, they can't get Jordan. I mean, it would be crazy to go to Amman. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be it's kind of suicide. But to get this land near the Jordan River, I think it's.
Mhm.
It's possible.
A last question. I know that we take a long time for your time now. Do you give us any advice that you have friends, or you know some friends, Jewish friends, that they have your thoughts as
Where?
in French or in Israel? Do you have a friend? Do you contact with friends? Do you give advice to interview them in the same canal here?
Yes. You have, for instance, there is an organization in France called. I'll send you the link. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a union in French. It's in union of Jews, French for peace or something like that.
Mhm.
I'll send the Marianne the link. They do a good job in France. They are very. It's a small group.
زي اللي عندنا
100
بالضبط.
100 or 150, but they do a good job, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have one question, and probably I'm done for tonight.
Yeah. I was exhausted now.
You know, really, what actually got me into this group is listening to some Arab Zionists talking about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. That's actually what got me into this group. And I want you just
To make a message.
I'll make a comment on something. So
Message.
some of those Zionists, the Arab Zionists, they claim that the Jewish people today who are actually immigrating to Israel are the same Jewish people who left the land before 2,000 years. So they are the same blood, you know, the same. They are the descendants. They are the descendants of the Jewish who used to be on the land before 2000. Let's say till the second Jewish revolt, 135. Now, same time, they are denying that the Palestinians are the same. So they are accepting the idea of the Jewish, but they don't want to believe
Tell them to read the book of Shlomo Sand, how the Jewish people was invented. Okay?
Mhm.
Huh? Tell them to read. I think it's translated in English.
Yeah, and it's
It's
in Arabic.
fantastic. I mean, there is no link between the Jews who lived 2,000 years ago. Even, you know, he explained that in the beginning,
Of his book.
Ben Gurion thought that the Palestinians were the Jews, the old Jews there. I mean, and he tried
Exactly.
to get it.
That's
And
my
he tried
idea.
Yeah, but it failed. But I mean, there was never. I mean, but you can just tell them to hear the videos of Shlomo Sand or to read his books. And I think Marianne can give you the right name of Shlomo Sand. And he was teaching in the University of Tel Aviv during 30 years. And to me, he is a real opponent of the Zionist state. There are not many, because be careful, there are a lot of leftist Zionists. It's bullshit. I mean, they are Zionists. To me, you are Zionist, you are left or right, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
There is one thing, if you believe in a Jewish state as a Zionist, you are not, I mean, we can't follow you. That's the point. And there are very few in Israel. And Shlomo Sand, it's very important to answer this question.
Yeah,
but
another statement.
I think the
last favor I want to ask you, last favor. What do you say to those people, the Arab Zionists, that say to me, you have a passport, there's really a passport. What do you complain? Why do you complain? You have all rights, just like the Jew. What do you say to them?
Okay, you can tell them. No, look. First, I say one thing. The Arab nation is now in a very not bad situation, but
weak.
They are below. I mean, they are
way below.
Way below. I mean, it's a nation who lost all its all pride, dignity, strength. I mean, they are. I mean, they almost. I mean, if Jewishness, if the Jewish religion was open, I mean, they could convert. But Jews don't accept conversion very easily, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they are. I mean, they have a mentality of slavery. The Arabs. I'm sorry, but when I see the level where they arrive, I mean, it's no. I mean, it's a pity, but history tells us never despair. There is always, you know, a hope that, you know, in my video on the annexion, I said one thing. History, the Israelis believe that their history is like an American Hollywood movie. There is a happy end, and they live happy together. And the Israelis think we have won. We have all what we want. No, my dear. History has no end. History continues. People continue to live. And okay, today the Arab world is the head down. But in 5 years, in 10 years, in 1 year, we have time. The time belongs. You know what the Israelis, I tell you, they fear, they are hectic, you know, they are like, you know, they are very Western people, you know, and they are, you know, this sumud they said for about Palestinians, about Arab, no sumud, this kind of okay, we wait, we have the time is with us, and that's something. What's the word in Arabic?
Surviving.
What's the word in Arabic?
In Arabic, sumud.
Sumud, voilà, sumud. And they know the word, you know. And sometimes they say, yes, the Arabs, they have that. And it's a fear for them, you know, because they use all the tricks, you know. But they can't arrive to, they know that they can't arrive, you know, to That's the hope. Very still. I mean, no, the people can wake up and everything, you know. And the world also is awakening against Israel, because our people are fed up, you know, with this country, with this mentality, with this military, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I want to thank you, Mr. Cohen.
You're welcome.
I'm really pleased to have you, and I want to have you one more, maybe twice, maybe.
We adore you. We love you, man. We need.
We love you. We love you.
We need.
We want you.
Promise another interview.
Sure, whenever you want. No problem.
Thank you. Thank
you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
like we say in Moroccan, صباح على خير.
Okay, thank you all.
Bye bye.
And have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.